Expert Interview Series. Thank you for joining me today.
It's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, to kick us off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a third generation hairstylist. I've done hair for 20 years now, almost 20 years. My grandma owned a salon my whole life. My mother also owned a salon my whole life. And I pretty much grew up in a salon. My grandpa was a barber, so he
Wow.
worked with my grandma. And I have a couple aunts that do hair now and a bunch of cousins that do hair. And so it really just kind of runs in the family. We all do hair. I have a little sister that does hair. She works with me every day. It's one of my favorite things about what I do. And yeah, we're just a big family of hairstylists out in Utah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you all get together, I have to know when you all get together, do you have conversations about like all the new trends and things happening? And, is that
You
commonplace in
know,
your,
I don't know about new trends, but definitely about what's going on in the salon and how our
yeah.
clients are. And my mom is always very concerned. Like, did you check in with so and so? Is she doing okay? Last time she was at the salon, I heard her tell you that this was going on. How's she doing now? It's more being concerned about our clients, probably more so than anything. But new trends, yes. I teach a lot, so we talk a lot about that. And yeah, my grandma actually passed away last year, so that's been hard. My grandma and my grandpa passed away last year. And so that salon has kind of come to a close, and that's been a huge thing for my family to have that come to an end. So
Oh, sure.
that's been a big topic of discussion this year.
Hmm. Well,
So
it sounds like it's well, it is your life. It
it's
is
our
your life,
life. Yeah,
the whole entire family, like all of it. And it sounds like probably your clients are your life. That's
they
so,
really are. It's kind of all encompassed into one. So quite
yeah.
the it's quite the community of people. I think that's
Hmm.
probably the biggest thing, the community that you build.
I could see that. Absolutely. When
So
you were little, was there, you sort of see your family in this? Do you have like a memory of thinking about, oh, I want to do this? Or do you just
no,
always be in there?
the
So it just,
complete opposite, actually.
oh,
My
okay.
mom, when I was little, she used to ask me if I was going to grow up and do hair like her and my grandma. And I used to say to her, no, I'm going to grow up and have a real job, which was horrible.
Yeah.
And karma, I've been a hairstylist for 20 years,
Yeah.
but no, I had no interest in doing hair. This is what everyone in my family did, and I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And I was just little, and I never thought I would do hair ever. I wanted to be a lawyer from about the time that I was 5 years old, and I was going to go to law school, and I was all set for law school and headed there. And even in high school, I graduated early and did internships at the courthouse and was all set for that. And then I found out I was pregnant with my son about a month after I graduated.
Okay.
And so being a young single mom, I knew I was going to keep my son. I was very firm on that. And so knowing that I was going to have a baby, I needed a career and I needed one fast. And I
Mhm.
was not going to make it through 7 years of schooling to go
Right.
to law school. And so this is what my family's always done. And I went to hair school and I was done in a year and out and working for my family. I knew exactly where I was going to work. I had a job. I had clients before I was even done with hair school. So it's funny the turn that it took. And even when I graduated hair school and started working at the salons, I never thought I'd do this for a long time. I thought this would be a couple of years. I'd move on to something else. And I got out of school and I was really good at it. And
Mhm.
that made it really hard to walk away from. I was really good at it and I didn't love it at first though. And I think that's an interesting thing about me because I think everyone assumes because I love what I do so much now, they assume I always have. And that's not the case. I actually didn't love it at all for quite a few years. It
Oh.
took it took some time.
So what changed? What happened to make you start to love it and think, oh,
Uh, um teaching. Teaching
okay.
is really what changed it for me. When I started teaching other stylists that were coming in to work for my family, I found more purpose in that for some reason.
Hmm.
And then also actually, I would probably say it was before I started teaching. A few years before I started teaching, I really started specializing in working with women who had health conditions and women who had lost their hair
Mm-hmm.
from chemo or thyroid disease or lupus or, I mean, you name it. And hormone imbalance type stuff. I really started focusing more on helping women that had been through traumatic things with their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really probably where I found my passion for what I do and why it was important. I think I never felt like it was that important. And once I got into that side of it, I really started to see the importance in what I was capable of doing for someone. And from there, then I started teaching. And once I started teaching, I saw how me helping other stylists helped them help women everywhere with the same issues, and how that ripple effect and how it grows in the water, and how you can impact so many more people by sharing what you know. And then that became my focus and my passion.
That's great. That
Yeah.
it really shows how sometimes things happen in life that we at the time think, no, this isn't what I want. I have similar stories in my background too. Of
Yep.
this is, I want to go down this path. I want this to be it. And then something happens and you get twisted and turned and then
Yeah.
you know it, you're like, wow, look at what I'm doing right now, how empowered I feel, or the people I'm helping that
Well,
it's like
and
meant to be there to do that.
yeah. And funny enough, right right about the time that I really I mean, I had helped women with health issues throughout my career always, but when I really started to make that my main focus, right about that same time I got offered a job doing something not in the hair industry at all, not in the beauty industry at all, totally different, working for a securities company. And it was like the dream job, right? Like the really nice salary, set hours, benefits, all of that. All those things that we as hairstylists don't have. And when confronted with taking that job, I think that's when I really realized, like, I don't want to quit doing what I do.
Mm.
It was interesting. It was
Full
an
circle.
interesting pivot moment for me.
Yeah. Well, it was probably a pretty significant moment because it really spoke to you, saying,
Yeah, and it was that moment where I was like, if I turn down this job, then this really is my focus. This is like, there's a
yeah,
reason I'm turning it down. And I think it's funny how, like, once you get on the path you're supposed to be on and you make peace with it,
yeah,
things change.
yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question to you, is because there's probably people in similar situation, that's sort of like,
For
which path
sure.
do I take? Did you have something inside of you that just was like, said, hey, this is the decision, or did you wrestle with it? How did you come to the decision?
I wrestled with taking that job. And once I made the decision, like, no, I love I don't want to give up doing what I do. And I don't want to give up who I work with. And
Mhm.
I don't want to give up my flexibility. And I don't want to give up really what I do. Like, I don't want to, if I quit helping these women, at the
Mhm.
time, I wasn't teaching and there was no one
Yeah,
that, who are you going to hand them off to? And how are you going to look at them and tell them you can't help them anymore because you're too busy doing a corporate job?
right, right.
So once I made that decision, then it was like, okay, this is the decision you made and this is your focus. So if this is going to be what you do, then let's really, like, we can kind of quiet all the outside noise that you always wrestle with, and we can just focus on what it is you want to do.
Right. So you kind of made peace with it and then you were all in.
Hmm.
And you've been very successful.
I
So it's
have been.
like, you go in and then you're focused and then you can make things happen.
Yeah. And it's amazing. That is probably the most shocking part for me to
Mhm.
look back on. It is amazing to me how much my career took off once I was like both feet in it and not one foot out the door. My
Yeah.
career completely changed. My whole outlook changed and my career changed because of it. It was a very neat moment for me in my life.
Yeah. How interesting. Yeah. So now you teach.
I
And
do.
so tell us a little bit about what you teach. Why do you enjoy teaching?
Oh, I teaching is probably one of the greatest blessings in my life in terms of my career. Um, I love it. I don't know how to explain it. It feeds my soul in a way I don't think it's hard to explain what I get out of it. I think seeing someone come into my class and where they start versus where they are 4 days later when we end, seeing the change that they have made in their career, in their outlook on things. I guess in a way, I feel like it gives them that pivot moment that I had. And I see how much it changes them. And then what's so neat from there is it's not because I don't stop teaching when class ends. I have a personal relationship with every single student I've ever taught. They have my cell phone number. They call me all the time. To then, stay in touch with them and watch them as they grow and watch them as they step into something new that is super uncomfortable at first. And then to see how they take that and run with it, and, who really dives in and how it alters their outlook on their career. Once they start helping these same women, the change that happens in the way they feel about their careers and what they do and how successful they become. And I think I get more joy out of watching that than anything else that I do.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, you have reach. You're in a position now where you're working with people that are working with other people that, you're
exactly. The reach of women that we can help exponentially grows.
Yes.
But also to watch how it helps that stylist, how it changes her life. Whether that be she is in love with a career that she never loved before, or that financially she's more stable. If it's a single mom and she just took her first vacation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different facets to it that make it something where I think I finally found a way that I see how my talent really and truly helps others. It's not just something I'm talented at doing. It's something that I'm talented at doing. And by sharing that and teaching other people how to be talented at it too, to see how that helps them and affects their lives, I think is the greatest gift.
Absolutely. And education is so significant in a person's life. The
Huge.
more you learn, that no matter what it is or where you're, it could be a book, it could be a class, it
anything.
could be
anything.
It changes you as a person. That's so much. And that's amazing that you're getting to do that with your life is give that gift.
Yeah. It really has been a huge blessing for me that I get up and get to do what I love every day.
Yeah. So you mentioned that your students have your cell phone number, and what could they expect? What can they expect if they come take your class?
Oh man, I feel like that's almost a better question for one of my students. My class is intense. Through COVID, I got asked all the time if I would do online education, and I won't do it. I don't feel like it's not to knock online education. There's lots of things that you can learn online, but this is not one of them. And I feel like, so when they come, my class is pretty intense. It's a 4-day retreat. You stay with me at the class.
Okay.
So you are completely immersed in it for 5 nights, and it's really 6 days, but 4 days of class. And, that first day, I always tell everybody, you're going to hate me on the first day. I take them out to breakfast and butter them up before we start. And I will tell them at breakfast, like, you're not going to love me at the end of today. Today's a hard day, but each day gets better and it gets easier. And by the end of it, you are rocking it and you love it and it's great. And I've never had any of my students have a different experience than that. So it's a very intensive class. I cover the whole realm of hair extensions. Okay. So I say all the time that hair extensions are just as vast in our industry as color is. Color is a huge, vast thing in our industry to learn. I mean, there are specialties in techniques and specialties in certain types of colors. You have vivid artists and you have balayage specialty artists and you have hair painting. And there are so many different ways to color hair in our industry. And they're all special and they're all unique. And it's just such a vast area of our industry. And I tell people all the time, hair extensions are the exact same thing. Hair extensions are just as vast in our industry as color is. So it is silly that you would ever think that you're going to go take one class and know everything. That would be like me saying, I'm going to go take a Goldwell class and I'm going to know everything about every color line there ever was and know everything that there ever was to know about every technique on how to do color. That's a joke. It's not possible. So I really encourage my students to do education. Like, it doesn't stop with me. I encourage them. I want them to go do as much education as possible. But also because of that, I felt that if I was going to teach, I felt like it was important that I covered a lot, because there is so much more to learning how to do hair extensions than just learning the technical skill of a method. I felt like most methods just taught you the technical skill of doing the actual method, but very few of them taught you how to do color blending and hair extension color theory, which is a totally different thing, totally different animal than traditional color theory in our industry. And, you know, what products to use and how to take care of them and how to protect your client's investment, because it's a huge investment that your clients invest in. It's a lot of money to get hair extensions.
Right.
And so what are you doing as a stylist to protect that investment and to make sure that your clients are getting the most for their money? There's just so many different things that go into being a hair extension specialist that I felt like wasn't being taught. And so my class covers all of it. And it is an intense class, but that's why we don't do it online.
Right. Well, and it goes back to sort of the whole, when we talked about education being important, is professional development. And clients do want that. They,
Yep.
clients want to go to a person that has continued to do so and has taken time and really understands their
And
craft.
really spent time on fine-tuning that craft. I always say this is a craft. It's not simple. And so you really need to take time to practice and perfect your craft. Practice on a mannequin at night. Practice, but really it makes a huge difference in the outcome that you have with your clients. And with the amount of money that they're spending, we should be making sure that we're giving them the best that they can get.
For sure. So, in all of that being said, you have all these experiences and just very, rich history of stuff that you've done and been through, and words of wisdom for someone.
Oh, be open. Be open to change. I tell everybody that they should have a yes year, where they say yes to everything, even things that make them super uncomfortable or things that they never, ever, ever thought they would ever want to do.
Yeah.
Like, have a yes year. Dedicate a 12-month period to saying yes to every opportunity that comes your way. Because sometimes you'll do things that make you super uncomfortable and really good things come out of it. And you learn. You learn as you do things. You might learn like, nope, I definitely don't like that. And there's a reason I always say no. And you might learn like, actually, that was really cool. And I want to be open to that more. I think having a yes year really changes life for you personally and professionally.
I love that. I'm thinking through, if I had a yes year, all the things that I would do that I would not have done.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of experiences.
It opens up all kinds of doors.
Yeah, that I didn't go to, or a new person that I would end up meeting, or very
restaurants you never thought you'd try. And I tell some of my clients who are single, like, go out on the date with the guy that keeps asking that you are not interested in. Right. He might surprise you.
Right.
And if not, you might make a good friend, or you might experience something you didn't realize that you liked. Yeah. It's just a good, have a yes year.
Very true. I love that. I love that.
Be open to new experiences.
So, final thoughts before we are done.
Oh, final thoughts. I don't know. I really hope, final thoughts for me, one thing that I really try to hone in on and focus on in our industry is the culture of our industry. For as amazing as this industry is, there are a lot of things about the culture of this industry that are not awesome, if we're just going to be honest. And that's a big focus for me in my career. It's a big focus for me in what I teach. It's a big focus for me in the photo shoots that I go do for companies. It's a big focus for me in the example that I'm leaving for, generations of stylists coming up behind me. I think that, if I could leave a handprint on this industry, I say this all the time when I do interviews and stuff, but if I could leave a handprint on this industry, if somebody's going to remember me for something, I hope it's that. More than extensions, more than anything else. I hope it's that, our mantra at Tightline is love hair, love others. So I really would like to see stylists in our industry do a better job of setting a better example for the younger generation of stylists coming up on how to treat each other and how to have better culture within a salon and within our industry.
Super important. Super important. And
Makes a
based on
huge difference.
yeah, yeah, super important. The way we treat each other,
Yep.
kindness and all of that. And the more we work together, the better and more successful everybody is, better experience in life.
110%. And if more salons could adopt that mentality and that way of thinking, this would be a different industry.
Yeah.
So,
Well, based off everything you've done, you're definite mover and shaker. So I have no doubt you'll be making an impact on
oh, I
industry
hope so.
for sure. Yes.
Well,
Well, to close us out and to our listeners, if you would like to learn more about Shaylie or book an appointment, you can reach her at QUPstyle.com. The link is listed in the comments of this post. And thank you so much, Shaylie, for being here. It was a
thank you.
pleasure to chat with you today.
No, I loved it. I appreciate you asking me to come do it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. You're welcome.